Hello everyone, and welcome to the Fighting the Good Fight podcast, the show that highlights stories of fighters that experience and fight against the barriers that institutional and systemic racism creates in our local and global communities. My name is Tiana, and I am your host. In today's episode, I am going to catch up with Takisha Jacobs, mental health advocate and co-founder of Connect to Be the Change, a nonprofit focused on providing alternative ways to respond to trauma other than physical violence. Like so many other Black women, Takisha has faced tremendous obstacles due to racism, sexism, classism, and more. Through her resiliency and determination, she has been able to navigate society's ills and live a fulfilled life, helping the most vulnerable population, the youth. If you would like to learn more about this podcast and content related to it, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, Fighting the Good Fight 45, and visit the websites in the description box below to learn more. At the end of the episode, I will leave you with words of encouragement to continue fighting the good fight. So be sure to listen all the way till the end. Let's go! All right, everybody, it's Tiana here from the Fighting the Good Fight podcast, and I am so excited. It's a beautiful Monday morning, actually, right? It's a Monday morning here in Indiana, and I have the opportunity to be sitting here with Takisha Jacobs, and she is the co-founder of Connect to Be the Change, and she is a mental health advocate. And we're here to have just a authentic, heart-to-heart conversation about fighting the good fight and what that looks like for her. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, Takisha. So to start off, I've known Takisha for probably about 10 years plus now. We've known each other obviously because of education. I was fortunate to have her son Abdul at a school that I was an instructional coach at. And then our next encounter was, I was again fortunate to have her son as one of my students at my first middle school that I led, Marshall Intermediate Center. And we became close there because she was one of my parents. And so over the years, we have again grown to get to know each other. We have crossed paths because we support a couple of organizations that are alike. But she is here today to talk about her story, her journey, and what she has done to fight the good fight. And again, that good fight is the systemic oppressions that we all face. You know, it's difficult being a person of color, a Black Indigenous person of color in America. And so we all have to face these challenges, and we all do it in different ways. So Takisha, talk about your good fight. What is a good fight to you or for you? What does that mean to you?
A good fight is a positive outcome. So to me, a good fight doesn't necessarily mean it's physically violent, but you fight for what you believe in, you stand for what you believe in, and that's what a good fight is to me.
Awesome. So talk to us more then about what that is to you then. You know, what do you advocate for on your journey? What are you standing for right now?
So now I am standing for mental health and changing mindsets. Getting people to understand in those hostile moments, in those moments where you're angry or when your emotions is heightened, to not react physically. Just wait for a moment and then find a response to the issue. So that's what I'm fighting right now.
Wow.
That's important to me.
So talk to us more about your organization then, because I know that you're a mental health advocate, but I know Connect to Be the Change, that's kind of the mission of that too, is to support the youth finding alternative ways to address the harm that they may be facing.
All right, so with Connect to Be the Change, it was birthed out of pain. I had lost my son to gun violence senselessly. He didn't have anything to do with anything and was shot and killed while we were visiting family out of town. And so that did something to me. And with me having 4 other children, and a whole community of people that actually looked up to me, I knew that I needed to do something to get myself together. I had a bunch of different diagnoses And that was because it was mental health stuff.
Right.
Grief, but it was from
the grief of losing your son. Right,
yeah.
Right.
And so with that grief brought up on a bunch of stuff. And so I needed something, and I didn't know what it was until I ran across someone and they told me about, going to therapy. And I didn't want to do it because I felt like, I was always taught that white people are going to take my pain and turn it into their fortune. And so I didn't want that. So I didn't want to do therapy. Right. But then I wanted to try something different. And as I'm listening to other people, and I am an optimistic person, and I really, really, really know I needed something, I had to go back and rethink that whole piece. So I did therapy. And in EMDR therapy, it started to help me unlearn a bunch of things that I had learned, which were survival skills from where I came from and how I grew up. Wow. And so some of those things that I had learned was not, it wasn't a good way for me to deal with issues that would come about. And so I had to unlearn those bad ways that I learned to deal with things and learn a different route on how to deal with it. And since I learned that different route, I was able to teach it to other people. And so when I would teach with Connect to Be the Change, we were taking bullets off the streets and out of people's guns. They can't be used, so they got to come out of a clip. Right. But we were taking those bullets and we would take them apart and make these bracelets. But then I'm like, we need to do more because we're taking the bullets, and true enough, people can't afford a box of bullets right away. So how do we talk to them or get them in a space where we're changing something or doing something else? Yeah. And so to my surprise, I had a lot of young people that were willing to engage in group therapy. And so I have a psychologist and psychotherapist that help facilitate these group therapy sessions. And then it started helping. They started thinking about their responses to their anger. And not only that, they're getting older. So it's been in them, but we had to help pull it out of them. Right. They didn't know how to get that out. They didn't know how to
channel that humanity.
Yeah.
That's humanity.
We're always surviving. When you come from a violent environment, you're always surviving, or you don't have enough. And so now they're seeing okay, you don't have to always respond violently. Right. True enough, things make you upset, but let's not start swinging first. Let's figure out how can I avoid this type of situation again. We'll focus on the solution instead of the problem. Identify the problem and then put all our focus on the solution. Wow,
that is so powerful. So the fact that, you talked about how you faced your own grief, and then you had to start with yourself. You started with yourself and your own healing journey. And then you took the next step to teach others how to heal. Mm-hmm. That is just so powerful. So very powerful. And so currently, what are some things you're working on right now? What are your current projects?
So now I am actually working on the Youth Crisis Mobilization Team through Oakland. And that is the way that I have found that I can expand my reach, is just, working with another place. Why did I choose Oakland? And why am I choosing to do it this way? I have had a lot of stumbling blocks when it comes to Connect to Be the Change, because we work with specific people. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times I find that the city doesn't like it. They don't like that you're changing the way that, as they call us, gang members or the poor people. They don't like that we're changing for the good. And so we don't get funded by the city. We're blackballed by the city.
That's interesting.
And so since that happened, I know they're not going to want to, they don't. They do not want to help Connect to Be the Change at all. And so we got to figure out a way to do it. And the way for me to do things is I can work for other people. I don't have a problem with that. I can work for myself. I don't have a problem with that. But if you already are situated, I can come and work for you, and that's how I can help with the change or reaching
understood
what I want to reach.
So there's definitely definitely some barriers here in the city. I would agree with that as well. When you do try to come up with, and I would name it unconventional ways. I've had my own personal experiences with that where I feel like I haven't been given opportunities as well. And I've always wondered if it was because I was unconventional. But that's interesting that you feel that is a challenge for Connect to Be the Change, is to secure funding, especially from the city in which needs it. South Bend is unfortunately has faced a lot of violence. Seems kind of quiet right now. Makes you wonder if they're really reporting stuff. But that's a whole nother conversation. But this city definitely needs new ways of thinking, new ways of trying to get the youth to see hope, to see their future, to see themselves in the present moment. Like you're saying, that response to things that happen to us, they still have power. I used to tell the children at the school that you still have a choice. You still can choose what to do. You can still choose your response. So thank you for giving students that avenue and the youth the avenue to find a different way to respond to the trauma that happens. Mm-hmm. So in closing then,
but one more,
tell us some more. Sorry.
This,
I interrupted you.
No, it's okay. It's the peer recovery or peer-to-peer stuff.
Okay.
Prison-to-peer pipeline. I'm working with IRSS and Naxos and Neighbors, which we're working on coming up with training modules, and we'll be training peer-to-peer coaches, recovery coaches, and supervising them out into the community.
Wow.
And so getting our young people who deal with a lot of substance abuse, mental illness, just abuse period, getting them trained to be a peer for someone else, I think is important.
Yep.
So that's something else that I'm working on, is a prison to peer pipeline. Getting people that are incarcerated trained to be peer-to-peer recovery coaches.
Wow.
Or certified peer specialists. And that helps. You have to have lived experience, so that will help people that are going through, and instead of someone with a PhD that's never been through anything, right, trying to help, you bring peers in to help cultivate that relationship and the trust building factors with people that are on substance abuse or have mental illness or are homeless or any kind of disease that they're battling. Wow. You have people that have gone through some stuff themselves and they're in recovery from it and they want to help other people. So I feel like that is really good for our young people to get involved with, and it doesn't matter if you have a felony or not. They prefer you to have gone through some stuff,
right?
So it helps with getting jobs, and we're just working on how to pay people more to do some stuff like this. Okay. And it's actually there's a lot of data about peer recovery specialists or coaches. There's a lot of good data about it. And coming to find out, like Oakland, it is it's really helping the community to have someone that has gone through stuff and they can share part of their story, right, and how they came about or on the other side of it now.
Changing poison into medicine.
Yep.
Changing poison into medicine.
Yep.
And it starts in the mind. It starts in the mind. So let's wrap up there. Thank you again so much for being on the show this morning. This was awesome to talk to you. Just knowing that really a part of this journey for all of us a part of how we're going to get better is this healing journey. Like, there's just a lot of things that people have been through, and we're not even addressing everything. Like, we're not addressing the systemic, we're not addressing the institution, we're just addressing individual hurt.
Yeah, and it's funny how it is so much stuff that goes on, and I have a little thing that it's in the back of my head, but like substance abuse, we have dealt with this for so long. And now that it has affected the likes of the upper echelon, now it's like, oh my gosh, let's find a problem. Right. And I'm like, Black people have been going through so much, and I'm gonna speak for Black people. Right. We have gone through so much in life for people to just overlook us and then jump ahead. So anything that becomes a disease in the community, such as substance abuse or mental illness, now that people want to see it as a disease, like now it's getting all of this work, but you're steady overlooking the black people and everything that we've gone through, and you're wondering, well, why is this happening? Well, because nothing is being addressed with us and what has been done to us. And it's like there's no solution. There's no...
Oh, there's a solution.
No. There is a solution.
Oh, I know.
There's a solution, but they don't they won't push for the solution.
Exactly.
They want it. It's like they're keeping us downward. Yeah, perfect, and then like, I don't have any issues with any race of people, any genre of people. I don't. I would like to see, okay, the LGBTQ community, they have a array of all this stuff, and you say anything about that community of people, you are black, you pushed out. Oh no, they don't like gay people. But what about us black people? So when we try to speak up and stand up, we're angry, we're illiterate or ignorant or something like that. But when it's a person that is a LGBTQ and black or poor
or woman,
like it's just, we get overlooked for everything. And why? Why can't we be on the same level playing field as everybody else?
Yep. It's a good question. I think we need to dig further. I think we should dig further and keep trying to figure out why is that?
I want to know. And the answers, like, when there are so many answers and they're simple. They're simple answers. Stuff to violence, stuff with substance abuse, mental illness. Like, there are answers
to some of these ills.
Why do you, or not you, but do people
in general
refuse to just let's try it this way? Why is that so hard to do? Right.
Well, keep fighting. Thank you for supporting the youth that you do support. I know that you have changed many lives. I saw you a couple months ago, and one of your successors was like, I'm a firefighter now. I don't know if you know who I'm talking about. I think he said he's a firefighter. He told me he was something. He's doing police officer. He's something now.
AJ. Yep.
I don't know. Yeah, he was excited.
He's a police officer, and I was all for that. Like, he was like, my mama, I don't know, and I'm like, boy, you want to be a police officer? Go for it. Right. We need police officers like you. On the force. So we're gonna have them, regardless to how any of us feel about it. Because you can abolish the police and let me just handle my people. But since that ain't going, we know that's not gonna happen anytime soon. We got to deal with the reality. Exactly. We need to get our kids in the police department. Yeah. They'll have more empathy, and not saying they'll just let everybody get away with stuff, but they'll have more empathy and compassion about what
needs to be done. Yeah. Right. You got to plant the seed if you want to see change. The seed does have to be planted. All right, Takisha. Well, thank you so much. We keep saying thank you like we're going to end, and we just keep talking. But I do appreciate you for being on my show, having the courage to be here today, and having the courage to fight the right fight for our community. So thank you again. Do you have any last minute things you want to say?
Well, thank you so much for having me here, and thank you for all that you do, and keep elevating your voice, please, and ours.
All right. I will do that. All right. Thank you. Wow. Takisha is right. According to Dr. Robin DiAngelo, author of White Fragility, defines white supremacy as an overarching political, economic, and social system of domination. Racism is a structure and not an event. Her line of curiosity as to why these things are not just simply solved in our community and beyond. Well, if the system was built on oppressing Black, Indigenous people of color, then more than likely than not, those beliefs and values are still being honored and lifted today. They must be challenged and eradicated in order to see the change we all hope to see. Unconventional approaches like peer mediators to combat violence can make a difference for an entire community. So if you would have an interest in donating to her great cause, Connect to Be the Change, Be sure to check out her website for more information on how you can donate to that cause. Let me leave you with this, fighters of the good fight, who are committed to serving others to overcome the ills of society. It's time to be unconventional. The youth are suffering. If our most vulnerable population is suffering, then what are we as adults going to do about it? The time is now. Until next time, thank you to the listening audience for checking out the Fighting the Good Fight podcast. If you have an interest in sharing your journey, stay connected. Drop a comment below or email me at fightingthegoodfight45@gmail.com. Thank you.